Ghana is pursuing something quite significant, and while the world's attention has largely been fixed on electric vehicle revolutions happening in China, Europe, and North America, a new chapter in the global EV story is being written on African soil, specifically in Ghana. Ghana's Investment Promotion Center, working hand in hand with the Ghana Revenue Authority, has entered into high-level strategy analysis with HMN Company regarding the establishment of a fully operational electric vehicle assembly plant right here in Ghana. This isn't a rumor. It isn't wishful thinking, and it certainly isn't just another press release. This is a structured government-backed engagement that signals something much bigger on the horizon. So let's break it all down. What's happening, why it matters, and crucially, what happens next. Every major industrial transformation begins with a conversation. And in this case, that conversation happened between some of Ghana's most powerful economic institutions and a company that sees real opportunity in the Ghanaian market. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center, widely known as GIPC, is the country's primary body tasked with attracting and facilitating both local and foreign investment. When GIPC sits down with a potential investor, it is not a casual engagement, it is a deliberate, strategic act. Beside them at the table was the Ghana Revenue Authority, the GRA, the institution responsible for tax policy, revenue collection, and fiscal compliance. Together, these two bodies met with HMN Company to lay the groundwork for what the country is pursuing to become Ghana's first dedicated electric vehicle assembly operation. The discussions were focused, purposeful, and wide-ranging, from investment facilitation to regulatory clarity, from tax compliance frameworks to business environment assessments. Every critical pillar of a major industrial investment was placed on the table and examined. This wasn't a meet and greet. This was the beginning of what appears to be a serious and sustained commitment from all parties involved. What is particularly compelling about this is the institutional weight behind it. When both GIPC and GRA show up together to engage with a prospective investor, it signals that the Ghanaian government is approaching this not from a single ministry perspective, but as a whole of government initiative. That kind of coordination is rare, and it matters enormously to any serious investor evaluating whether to commit hundreds of millions of cedis or dollars to a new industrial venture. Now let's talk about the bigger picture, because this isn't just about one company building one factory. The strategic ambition embedded in these discussions is far grander. Ghana's positioning here is deliberate and calculated. The goal is to establish the country not merely as a participant in the electric vehicle revolution, but as the manufacturing and assembly hub for the entire West African region. West Africa is a region of over 400 million people. It is a region experiencing rapid urbanization, growing middle classes, expanding road networks, and an increasing appetite for modern transportation solutions. The demand for vehicles, including electric vehicles, is only going to grow significantly over the next decade and beyond. And right now, almost all of those vehicles are imported, representing a massive outflow of foreign exchange and a missed opportunity for local industrial development. Ghana's vision is to flip that equation. Rather than remaining a passive recipient of finished vehicles manufactured elsewhere, Ghana wants to be the place where those vehicles are put together, where components are assembled, where jobs are created, where technical skills are transferred, where an entire ecosystem of suppliers, engineers, logistics providers, and technicians begins to form. That is the industrial transformation that conversations like this one are designed to catalyze. This positioning is also deeply connected to Ghana's broader industrialization agenda, which has long sought to move the country up the value chain, away from dependence on raw commodity exports and toward manufacturing, processing, and value-added production. An EV assembly plant represents exactly the kind of high-value, technologically sophisticated investment that fits squarely within that national development vision. For any investor considering a large-scale industrial project in a developing market, there are two questions that matter above almost everything else. First, is the regulatory environment clear, predictable, and business-friendly? Second, is the political environment stable enough to protect a long-term investment? Ghana, in these discussions, answered both questions with confidence, and the institutions backing those answers are not doing so lightly. GIPC reaffirmed its commitment to facilitating the entire investment process for HMN Company. What that means in practice is significant. GIPC acts as a one-stop shop for investors, helping navigate everything from business registration to sector-specific licensing to interagency coordination. When GIPC commits to facilitating an investment, it is essentially saying, "We will be your partner through every bureaucratic step of this journey." For a foreign company considering entering a new market, that kind of institutional hand holding dramatically reduces the friction and uncertainty that often derail promising investments before they ever get started. On the fiscal side, the Ghana Revenue Authority stepped up with an equally important commitment to provide clear regulatory guidance and ensure compliance with all tax requirements. Now, this might sound dry and technical, but it is absolutely foundational to investor confidence. Ambiguity around taxation is one of the most cited reasons why foreign companies hesitate to commit to new markets. When the GRA sits across the table from a prospective investor and says, here is exactly what your tax obligations will be, here is how the framework works, and here is how we will support you in meeting those obligations. That is a powerful signal. It tells the investor that Ghana's fiscal authorities are not going to move the goalposts once the investment is made, beyond the institutional commitments. Officials in these discussions also highlighted something that Ghana can genuinely boast about in the West African context: its political stability and conducive business environment. In a region that has, in recent years, seen political turbulence and governance challenges in several countries, Ghana's track record of peaceful democratic transitions and stable governance is a genuine competitive advantage when it comes to attracting major industrial investment. The successful establishment of an EV assembly plant in Ghana would actually be huge for the country's economy, because the implications ripple out much further than the factory gates. First and most immediately, there are the jobs. A manufacturing and assembly operation of this scale doesn't just create jobs on the factory floor, it generates employment across an entire supply chain. From component suppliers to logistics operators, from quality control technicians to administrative staff, from security personnel to catering services. The economic footprint of a major industrial facility is far wider than it might initially appear. In a country where youth unemployment remains a serious challenge, the creation of skilled, well-paying industrial jobs is not a small thing. Second, there is the skills and technology transfer dimension. One of the most enduring legacies of industrial investment in developing economies is not the factory itself, but the knowledge and capabilities that workers and engineers acquire while working in it. When Ghanaian workers learn to assemble electric vehicles, to work with advanced battery systems, electronic control units, motor components, and precision manufacturing processes, those skills don't disappear when their shift ends. They permeate the broader economy over time, contributing to a more technically sophisticated workforce that can attract and sustain even more sophisticated investments. Third, and perhaps most strategically, there is the foreign exchange dimension. Ghana, like many African economies, has historically struggled with foreign exchange pressures, partly driven by high import bills for manufactured goods, including vehicles. A domestic EV assembly operation reduces that import dependency, and if the plant eventually becomes an export hub for the West African region as envisioned, it could become a meaningful source of foreign exchange earnings rather than a drain on them. Fourth, there is the fiscal revenue angle. A large, compliant industrial operation generates significant tax revenues. Corporate taxes, PA taxes on employee salaries, import duties on components, VAT on transactions. Over the medium to long term, the fiscal contribution of a well-established EV assembly sector could be substantial. Ghana's pursuit of an EV assembly sector is so timely and so important in the global context. The world is in the midst of a fundamental transformation in transportation, driven by climate policy, technology breakthroughs, and rapidly falling battery costs. Electric vehicles are moving from niche products to mainstream consumer goods at a pace that few predicted just a decade ago. Major automakers worldwide are committing to electrify their entire fleets within the next decade or two. Governments are setting deadlines for the phase out of internal combustion engines. The infrastructure of charging networks is being built out globally. Africa has historically been a latecomer to many major technological transitions, not because of any lack of ingenuity or ambition, but because the economics and the institutional frameworks needed to support early adoption have not always been in place. The EV transition, however, represents a genuine opportunity for African nations to engage with a transformative technology, not merely as end consumers, but as producers and manufacturers. And the countries that move early, that build the institutional relationships, attract the investment, and develop the industrial base now, will be the ones that reap the most significant long-term benefits. Ghana's move to engage HMN Company and to back that engagement with the full weight of its investment and revenue institutions suggests that Accra understands this window of opportunity and is determined not to miss it. This is strategic foresight in action, the recognition that the decisions made today about industrial development will shape the economic landscape for a generation. The immediate priority will be the formalization of the investment agreement. High-level discussions are an essential first step, but they must be followed by binding commitments. Investment agreements, land allocation, environmental assessments, utility connectivity plans, and detailed financial structuring. GIPC's facilitation role will be critical during this phase as it coordinates across multiple government agencies to ensure that all the pieces are in place for ground to be broken. On the regulatory side, we should expect to see the GRA and potentially the Ministry of Finance working to develop a specific fiscal framework for the EV sector. Ghana may need to consider tailored incentives, reduced import duties on EV components, tax holidays for qualifying assembly operations, accelerated depreciation provisions to ensure that the economics work for investors while still being fair to the Ghanaian taxpayer. Infrastructure development will also be a key watch item. An EV assembly plant requires reliable electricity supply, good road connectivity, proximity to port facilities for component imports, and eventually a charging infrastructure ecosystem to support the vehicles it produces. These are not insurmountable challenges, but they do require deliberate planning and investment. Finally, and perhaps most importantly for Ghana's broader ambition of becoming a West African EV hub, we should watch for the development of a regional strategy. Ghana will need to engage with ECOWAS frameworks, explore harmonized standards for EV components across the region, and potentially work with neighboring countries to develop the kind of regional market architecture that makes a West African assembly hub economically viable. What Ghana is doing right now, the strategic conversations, the institutional alignment, the clear articulation of a manufacturing vision is exactly what economic transformation looks like in its early stages. It doesn't always make headlines the way a dramatic announcement might, but it is in these careful, deliberate engagements that the foundations of something truly significant are laid. As Ghana pursues its electric vehicle assembly ambitions, the world would do well to pay attention. Africa's largest economies are not waiting for the clean energy transition to arrive on their shores. They are actively positioning themselves to be part of making it happen. Ghana, with its stable governance, its ambitious institutions, and its strategic location in West Africa, is making its case to be at the front of that queue. This is a story we will be following very closely on this channel. There are many more chapters to be written, and I intend to be here to report every one of them. If you found this breakdown valuable, please hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs to understand what is happening on the African continent right now, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Until next time, thank you and until the next video.